Om Namah Shivaya. Hello everyone, I'm Shantanu Bhide, and today, I want to share something incredibly close to my heart. Consider this an explainer not of a dry topic, but of a deeply personal lived journey. The restoration of my grandfather's 130-year-old Mahadev Temple in village Nagzhari, Maharashtra. This isn't just a story about bricks and mortar, it's really about unbroken faith and, keeping a family legacy alive.
So this is where it all started. Standing right in front of that weathered 130-year-old stone structure. Man, you can literally feel the heavy weight of time pressing down on you. Looking at that exposed brick and the peeling, faded plaster, it brought on this profound, almost overwhelming, honestly, sense of responsibility. It was just an old building. Actually, scratch that. It was never just a building. It was my family's legacy, just quietly waiting for someone to finally step up and care for it.
And that deep sense of history, it's just etched into every single detail. Take the old, faded entrance to the inner sanctum, for example. With those cracked yellow walls and the hand-painted Om Namah Shivaya right above the door, it definitely bears the marks of time. But more importantly, it bears the marks of generations. It's an incredibly emotional experience, really, to think about the countless prayers, the hopes, and, the quiet moments of despair that my ancestors whispered through those very doors over the last century.
Guarding that entrance is our faithful Nandi bowl. Despite being entirely exposed to the harshest elements, we're talking scorching summer sun and torrential monsoon rains for decades, this beautifully weathered stone carving held its ground. He just sat there, patiently watching over the ruins, his gaze fixed squarely on the sanctum. It truly felt like he was steadfastly waiting for the temple's inevitable revival.
Stepping inside, you find the absolute heart of the sanctuary, the original Shivlingam, complete with a traditional copper snake. Even in its totally faded, dust-covered state, the presence it had was undeniable. This lingam has been the quiet, unyielding anchor of our family's faith for 130 years. I vividly remember standing there, looking at it and feeling this deep, undeniable spiritual calling. That was the exact moment for me. I knew I couldn't just be a passive caretaker of memories anymore. I had to take action.
Now, bringing a vision like that to life? Monumental task. The contrast is just staggering when you think about the decaying ruins we started with versus the breathtaking sanctuary it became. Seeing that transformation from weathered, crumbling stone to a vibrant, towering new structure, it was a moment of pure, sheer joy and awe for me. It really goes to show that with enough dedication, history doesn't have to just fade away, right? It can be totally revitalized. The exterior transformation is, it's striking. We went with a bright, radiant orange for the walls, which perfectly contrasts with the pristine white of the newly shaped dome. Set against that clear blue Warda sky, it stands out magnificently. And those colors aren't just for show either. They brought this massive surge of renewed, vibrant energy, not just to the temple grounds, but to the entire village of Nagzhari. It's like a beacon of life again.
But as anyone who loves history knows, true restoration isn't just about making things look pretty. It's about preservation. So we built a new protective pavilion right alongside the main temple, complete with a sturdy tin roof and fencing. We had to make absolutely sure the structure was fortified. The goal was to shield the sanctuary from the elements so it can safely shelter future generations of worshippers for the next 130 years and hopefully beyond.
Which brings me to one of the most powerful moments of the whole shebang, watching the saffron flag, the Bagua, finally being hoisted high atop that pristine white dome. Man, that was an indescribable emotional high. It wasn't just a piece of cloth catching the wind. It was a loud, proud signal to the world that the temple had been reborn, a spiritual promise to my ancestors finally fulfilled.
And when you step back inside today, the contrast between past and present is like night and day. That dark, uneven entrance of the past is gone, giving way to absolute light. The inner sanctum has been completely transformed with these serene, immaculate white tiles that catch the daylight beautifully, paired with a vibrant orange ceiling that gives the whole space this warm, divine glow. It's clean, it's peaceful, and it feels entirely rejuvenated.
Resting right at the center of this new inner sanctum is our original Shivlingam. During the consecration ceremony, it was beautifully adorned with vibrant marigolds and white chrysanthemums, all bathed in the soft glow of a brass oil lamp. Seeing the lingam like that, finally breathing new spiritual life after being so quiet for so long, it gave me this profound, anchoring sense of peace. The energy in that room was literally palpable. You know, while it's absolutely amazing to look at the physical transformation, the true foundation of this temple isn't just stone and mortar. Not at all. A project like this is ultimately built on the love, the support, and the core values of the people who guided us through the entire process.
Because when you take on a monumental task like restoring a piece of family heritage, you simply cannot do it alone. I want to share a quote we immortalized here. With gratitude to late Sachin Ogale, my childhood friend, without his support, this renovation would not have been possible. My dear friend Sachin was an absolute pillar of strength for me. Honoring him is an absolutely essential part of this temple's story.
To make sure these pillars of support are never, ever forgotten, we created a black marble plaque that is permanently woven right into the temple's foundation, because this sacred space is, at its core, a monument to family devotion and maternal blessings. It was incredibly important to me that the names of the people who inspired and supported this journey are forever etched into the very fabric of the building, greeting every single worshiper who visits.
And that brings me to the most profound dedication of all, inscribed on that very same plaque. In loving memory of late Srimati Sandhya Prabhakar Bhide, whose values, devotion, and blessings continue to inspire this sacred legacy. I read those words with the utmost reverence. This entire lifelong achievement is completely dedicated to her memory. Her enduring values are the true lifeblood flowing through this newly restored sanctuary.
Sitting before that newly installed plaque gave me a very quiet, private moment of spiritual closure. Offering prayers there, surrounded by the vibrant new walls, but deeply grounded by the memory of my mother and the history of my grandfather, I just felt this immense, endless gratitude. The physical work was finally done, and the spiritual duty fulfilled. The legacy is secure.
So, as the chants of Om Namah Shivaya echo once more in the revitalized air of Nagzhari, I want to leave you with a question to reflect on. Look into your own family histories. How will you preserve the sacred legacies entrusted to you? Because whether it's a physical structure, a set of values, or just a simple tradition, we all have something worth passing on. Thank you so much for joining me on this deeply personal journey. Until next time, take care of your history.